is the progress in the worldly matters. It is the highest point, and this worldly progress, while it has enabled the human beings to go for new and new inventions, every day Allah Almighty has provided them the opportunity. Every day we get a new invention, or the previous invention which people had invented for their own comfort, or they are improving on that and making it more and more useful and helpful for the mankind. There are certain inventions and some new things are such which are very harmful. For example, the telephone, for example, it was invented by human beings so that a means of communication should be available, and immediately their message should be conveyed to other people. And the people have really benefited from this invention. And now in this system of telephone, there are certain things added to it that you can, through your picture and through your writing, you can convey your message to other people. So this mobile phone, the cell phone, they are so common that even in the hands of developing countries we see it. Rather, in some countries there was a research in some countries that people may go for starvation, but they will definitely buy the mobile phone and use it. For example, in India, out of 187 people, they use it, although there is a lot of poverty there. In Pakistan, 75 people out of 100, they use it. People, they say it's very expensive country, but this is and Brazil is a poor country. Nowadays, its economy has been affected badly. Over there, on average, the people have got more than one telephone, and every person has got many telephones. So similarly, in the developed countries, the same is the situation. So now, on one side, the poor countries, they say that we don't have enough money to eat, to get the food stuff, and on the other side, to get the mobile phone and to purchase it, any method that can possibly be adopted, these people go for it. And just for this reason, that on telephone, mobile, Twitter, and so many other absurdities are there, and the matters of interest for people are available there. And these useless and harmful things, which are for the purpose of entertainment or for getting news or in order to create disorder, these things are available in the phones. We will say it all absurdities. And as a result of all these, the people who have invented those who have made the applications of the phone, they themselves admit that the bad effect of the phone is too much. One manufacturer of telephone that I never would like for my children, that they should ever go for these absurdities. But he is creating all these things for the destruction of other people. In order to get the wealth, this is selfishness on their part. That this we see in this type of departments, and they don't worry. They don't have a concern that the people of the world, because of the misuse of this thing, what sort of disorder and destruction they are proceeding. They are only concerned about their own children. And as compared to this one, they look at the teaching of Islam. What a beautiful teaching is there. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that you choose the same thing for your brother which you like for yourself. If they follow this principle, then they would have benefited from the good points of these inventions, but they could have saved themselves from the harms of these inventions. And these worldly people who have got no guidance at all, they, while indulging in these things, they are destroying themselves. So regarding these people, we can understand this point, that the glamour of the life has attracted them to themselves. But we Ahmadis, who get the guidance on each and every step, if they indulge in this sort of things which are detrimental for them, and they just follow the course of the world, and they are destroying their life by following these things, these people cannot be called intelligent people, wise people. And every good thing should not be followed just like in a blind following, and they should think over it, which is justifiably something which is good, and to go into the detail of these things, and just like a person who is a drinker and he does not remember anything of the, or mindful of the loss. So similarly, these people are intoxicated by these inventions. Most of them, they are like this, and the law, the danger, the harm of this, that their families are broken now. The peoples are become, youngsters are being corrupted. The mothers, they call themselves to have the food, they don't listen to that, and whenever they come to the dining table, still this mobile phone is in their hand, and there are sports and films, and they are always continuously watching that. They don't pay attention to their studies. And then the mothers are very much worried about that. Now, some wise people, worldly people, they have started saying that because of these inventions, that the unity in their family has been destroyed. And husband and wife, when they used to sit with the children and talk to the other, now the television was there, and they started watching television together. So there was some sort of unity among the family members. But now the computer, the cell phone, and iPad, and Android, and so many other things like that, they have broken the relationship and destroyed that. And the entity, the unity of the family has been completely gone. So these inventions are a matter of concern for all the intelligent people. And all the more, we should be all the more worried about it, and we should be, that the children, the youngsters, and the elders, they are not mindful of the prayers, of the timing of the prayer. They sit for late, they don't get up for Fajr prayer, and they are not awake at that time. Zohar Asr, because of being at work, they can't join congregation, and Maghrib and Isha, because they are absorbed in this one, they don't join these prayers. In short, these things, while these inventions have given some benefit, but at the same time it has given a big loss to the families. The benefit is no doubt there, and now MTA and other religious programs, the Jamaat's program, and informative programs we can watch over there. While the misuse of these facility, as I mentioned, that there is disorder, so the benefit of the new inventions is there, and it is only up to that time when you honestly and dedicatedly benefit from that. Now in the Jalsa, some boys and girls, instead of listening to program of Jalsa, they are texting the messages to other people, or they are just absurd things, useless things, programs are there. They came here to listen to the Jalsa, but in their hands the cell phone is there. So in the atmosphere of the Jalsa, dedicatedly they should be listening to what Allah and His Messenger has told us. these cell phone and iPhone, and they are so fond of these things that some children in the 7, 8, 9 years or of 7 or 8 years, or they write to me that we ask our parents that to buy us a phone, and they deny that you are a young person because of that. So you tell us that what age the children should be using this, and perhaps they ask me for this reason, that I will say in kindness that you ask your parents to, I will ask their parents to buy them the phone, and they will get a license in this way. Anyway, my reply is always there that the cell phone should not be given to the children. And some people have the excuse that sometimes we have to talk to our parents in emergency from school. And if this is an emergency, if such a situation develops, then the school authorities, they inform. So this is not an excuse. This is not a worthwhile excuse. Those parents who, those who want to protect the parents from these absurdities, they are worthy of praise. And large number of parents are such. Apart from that, this point is there, and this is the investigation as well, that more than 1 hour the TV and the other things which has got the screen, iPad, etc., they should not be permitted to see it more than 1 hour, because it affects their eyesight. Even their development is affected by that. So therefore, instead of you buy them these things, the children should be given the practice of playing in the open, or they should read the books. Anyway, these devices, electronic devices and things, in some situation they are very dangerous. The benefits are there, but now mostly the use is detrimental and harmful. And our elders, men and women, they should avoid unnecessary use of that. And particularly the children should abstain from there. When the elders, they are using it for nothing or in a bad way, so then the children would learn from them. By the grace of Allah, a large number of mothers are such who are taking care of the training of their children, and at least those who come to see me are those mothers who meet me and write to me letters. It indicates, their letters indicate that they, as compared with the fathers of the children, they are more mindful about the children, and they are showing more concern about that, so that they can be given the good training. In the atmosphere nowadays, when the children in schools, when they learn the worldly things from other children in schools, the education in school that is given in the name of freedom, sometimes unnecessary things are taught there which are not related to the children of that age. And this is also there, that the children should be allowed to progress in open atmosphere, and no religion should be taught to them. And the child, when they grow up, they will decide themselves whether he has to adopt a religion or not, or which religion has to be adopted. So when these are the situations, when everywhere, on every side, the atmosphere is such which is taking them to the world, so in that case, the training of the coming generation is a big challenge for all. And the religious-minded parents have to face this problem. If the atmosphere and the religious and the training and the educational institutions, they put this restriction that you don't have to teach the children about religion, so then what could be the more horrible thing than this one? Tomorrow they would say then there is no need of teaching morals, and the children themselves will define what is good moral for them. So certainly these things are such which are worrying, extremely worrying. And these worldly people, in their own saying, there is a contradiction in these, what these people say. And the detail of the contradiction is that on one side, those people who are without religion, irreligious people, and not believing in God, and also they believe on the other side that the religion has taught them the morals and civilization. So anyway, despite rejecting the religion, they have to admit some things good in religion. So in this atmosphere, so the one we who have believed in the Imam of the age, and those who have stood up with this claim that in the later part of the time, a true servant of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, by the grace of Allah, he had to make his advent so that he can bring the whole mankind closer to God, so that the people could know the beauties of the religion of Islam. So in that case, we need to work very hard, diligently, and we have not only to protect ourselves from these vices of the time. As I said, we have to protect our progenies and future generations, and have to give them the training in such a way that and after one generation, when the next comes, then these people should be able to benefit from the creations of God, and also discharging their responsibility and rights towards Allah, and looking after that, and also following the commandments of Allah Almighty. And they should be such that they have to give the preference to religion over the world. And we should not be simply those who make the claim, but rather we should be a practical picture of that. And this thing, neither we nor our progenies we can do with their power. But for that they need the blessing of Allah Almighty, the blessing. And in order to get the blessing of Allah Almighty, there is a need to submit to Him and to pray to Him and to follow His commandments. And practical conditions they have to rectify in their morals and behavior. So every lady who is a mother and every girl who has to become mother, inshallah, they should pray to Allah Almighty that Allah the Almighty, in this atmosphere, out of sheer mercy and grace, He should look after the training of these people, these children, in such a way that all of them are always giving preference to religion over the world. The promised Messiah ﷺ, he has drawn our attention to this point many times, that the desire to have children should not be for this purpose, that this is a natural desire to have the children. Everyone likes that he would have a progeny and of good health, and particularly the ladies, apart from this natural desire, they also are concerned about this thing, that if they do not have the progeny, then they have to hear something from the in-laws and sometimes from the parent, from the husband. And some people, because that they could not produce the children, the husband sometime and the in-laws, they threaten to divorce that wife. So this natural desire is very genuine, and particularly in this country, in this situation. But more than that, a man and a woman, the desire of having the progeny, and after being blessed with the children, their concern should be that the progeny is pious and religious and very good in religion, and they are fulfilling that purpose, which is the purpose of the creation of mankind. And that purpose is that you should become full of worship to Allah Almighty. The promised Messiah has mentioned this subject, discussing this subject, and I am giving you the summary of that that until the parents themselves, they would not fulfill this purpose themselves regarding their progeny, this desire of them would be absurd and meaningless and wrong if therefore their self example is very important, and that example is good, then the children will also be following that example. Regarding the tarbiyat of the children, on one occasion the promised Messiah ﷺ has said, and he mentioned the state of his own prayer, that this is my situation, that not a single prayer that I offer is such that in which I do not pray for my friends and my wife and my children. He says that there are children who they teach bad habits to their children, and in the early stages when they know these wrong things, they don't admonish them, they don't stop them, and the result is that day by day they become more courageous. And he says that when the children are there, then they are not concerned about the tarbiyat of their children, nor they rectify their beliefs, nor they reform their moral condition. So the correction of the religion, correction of the habits and the teaching of religion is very important. And then the morals, if they know the religion, then the morals will come automatically. And for tarbiyat, the correction and the correctness of their behavior is very essential. That the knowledge and the concern for the training and for the arrangement for that is very important. And similarly, as I said, that the training of a moral is also very essential. So after the marriage, when the children are born, then to look after their morals and to reform their character and behavior is very essential. In this worldly atmosphere, by living in there, this religious training is very essential. The people have to be given this concern that religion is the first and the foremost thing over everything. The children need to be told that the correct and the real morals are those which Allah Almighty has, religion has taught us. The standard of truthfulness, that is Qawl Sadid, that the upright talk and statement, that everything should be done with the absolute truth, and there should be nothing twisted in that. If the parents do not follow that, so then the children will not be getting any good effect of their advice. Similarly, other things are there. There are certain things which in the atmosphere here in these countries, they are bad and they are lower than the morals. They are not considered like that. But religion does say that these things are bad and declares them as bad. So to make them recognize what is good and bad, that is the responsibility of the parents. And when these children learn these things in school, in order to become the imam of the muttaqi, the parents have to become muttaqi. And the concern with which they take care of their worldly education, that they must be getting that. With the same concern, the religious training of the children should also be done. And they must do utmost effort for that. The religious training and the importance of religious knowledge and importance of that, in order to realize that, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that you ask your children to teach them the prayer, the wording of the prayer, and up to 10 years they should be made regular, compulsory, and their beds should be separated. At that age, the parents, the mothers also, they can look after the training of the children. If this responsibility is discharged properly in this age, then the proper training of the children can be done, and the future generations, in them, they would be able to create the Ibadur Rahman, the servants of gracious God. When they would become the servant of the gracious God in the future generation, so they will be away from Satan, and they would not be badly affected by the worldly atmosphere, and when the Satan is attacking in different ways in this atmosphere, and it's standing to take them away from religion, so then you will be making a true effort in order to protect your children. And along with this teaching, as I said, the prayer is very essential, because through the prayers, by submitting to Allah Almighty and seeking help from God Almighty, otherwise the attacks of Satan are very dangerous. And therefore, before the tarbiyat, you take your own prayers to the highest point, and then also tell the importance of these prayers to your children, and tell them, make them get attached to God Almighty. And this is the guarantee of the safety and security of our progeny, to admonish them and about the regularity of the prayer, and to tell them the proper way of offering the prayer. This is the responsibility of the parents, how they have to stand, how they have to sit in prayer. The Holy Prophet ﷺ and the companions, they used to train the children very diligently. Now as the parents think that the auxiliary organizations, Khudam, Atfal and Lajna and Nasrat, it is their responsibility to look after the children and to train them and to teach them the prayer and to teach them the way how they are offering and give them other information. No doubt, these auxiliary organizations in tarbiyat and to establishing unity, these have been created. But the responsibility of parents has not been diminished by that. And some mothers, in very early age, they teach the prayers to the children, and in a very childish tone, they recite that, and it looks very nice. But by doing that, the majority, they do not take care of the proper tarbiyat. And the tarbiyat and the prayers which they have taught them and given them, that can only be useful until the time, until the children are also praying to Allah Almighty. This tarbiyat which the mothers of the children are doing, the importance of the prayer and the supplications, that should continue until they become youth. And it is very essential to continue with that, so that when the children are grown up, then they can fully realize the importance of that. And those parents who do that, their children are attached to religion, the worldly things and the worldly desires, they are secondary to them. And the parents should also remember that at the age of 11 or 12, the children particularly, they need special attention. And many a time I have mentioned about this point. If the father, if they keep their inward and outward example is good, so then the children will also get the same training. And there are many such parents who are not mindful of the religious training of their children, or they do not have this consideration or concern that this is a great responsibility on your shoulders, which they have to discharge. If this responsibility is not discharged, then the children will follow the current of the time and will go away from religion. Rather, they would go away from God. So therefore, the religious training of the children, this matter must be taken seriously and should not take them lightly. And special effort has to be made, and special effort needs to be done. There is no doubt in it that in order to confront the world, we have to get the worldly education, and we have to have the distinction in that matter. And this desire should be created in Hadhrat Khalifatul Massih Salis Rahimahullah Ta'ala. He started the institution that those who get the distinction, they should be given the gold medal, and this scheme was initiated. Now this is spread all over the world. Gold medals are not given, but medals and certificates and awards are given to them. and except in India and Pakistan. And today we have got the distribution of the awards. It was conducted here. So that was for this purpose, that the girls also, they should, in getting the worldly education, just go to the high stages. But this is not the ultimate objective of our life. Remember it. The promised Messiah ﷺ, when he said that Allah Almighty has told me that your followers, they would get excellence in knowledge and understanding, so then the worldly and religious knowledge, both things have been mentioned. If we leave the religion and just follow the worldly things, so then religion will go out of our hand, and also the world will go out of hand. So then such mothers and parents accept this thing, that they would just be lost in the world and they will forget their religion. And because the children are going away from religion, they simply get worried about that. And when they are in advanced age, old age, then they will realize that they have made a mistake. Why we did not take care of the tarbiyat in the children at the early age? And from the tarbiyat point of view, the parents should always be concerned that the atmosphere of the house should be so nice and so religious and so pure that inside and outside it should be the same. There should be not a duality in that one. Only then the children get the proper training and education. In every matter there should be absolutely honesty and truthfulness, and to give preference to the religion over the world. That example should be there. When we ask the children, don't fight between them, and Allah Almighty does not like it, and religion does not permit that. And you have to control over your tongue, and the husband to wife and wife to the husband, if they are using foul language, and then both of them are fighting in anger, and they don't know that, or don't realize that what wrong things they are using regarding one another. So there are some families like that. Many children, they come to me, they bring the complaint of such parents, particularly the father, that our father they do injustice to our mother, and they use foul language, and we are greatly depressed by that. The men, this madness of the men, for the children, for the tarbiyat of their children, if the ladies, they keep quiet and they just move on one side and don't reply to that. So at least this silent method will give a message to the children that this is good and this is bad. But from this thing, the men should not think that whatever wrong things and foul language they use, they are allowed to do that. And it is only the responsibility that the wife should keep quiet and show patience. This is not. I do not mean that at all. The husband should control his anger, and he should not consider him as a ruler and dictator like that, and create the fear of Allah in your heart. And remember that each and everything, and each thing of all of us, Allah Almighty is watching over that. And all those aggressions and overdoings that the men do, they are going to be punished. If not in this world, then in the hereafter. So the parents, both of them, they have to, for the good training of their children, they have to keep this atmosphere of the family should be such that the parents should consider the parents as a role model for them, and they should come close to them. And also take care of this point, that it is the responsibility of the parents that in Jamaat meetings and programs they should take the children themselves. There are some parents, as I said, they think that the religious training and education, this is the responsibility of the Jamaat and we don't have to do anything. And they just leave the children and go away. And some parents do not pay attention at all. and the children do not participate in Jamaat activities and nor they bring them. They should themselves join these programs and also bring and tell the children the importance of that. And then in these meetings, it is the responsibility of the administration that they should treat the children nicely, and they should try to bring them closer and closer to the Jamaat. In administration, maybe men or women, whosoever is there, they should treat other children just like their own children. And the parents, they have trusted on the administration of the Jamaat, and children have been entrusted to them, so they should come up to this trust. And for the training of the children, the inside the house and outside, we have to collectively we have to work very hard, and we should do that so that they can take care of the future generation. And they must be giving preference to religion over the world, and they should be such children. Here I would like to mention this thing, that the auxiliary organizations, in order to take care of the children, if they are paying attention, so that the Jamaat official, especially the president, they show the attitude to the children, that sometimes the children do not like to come, and sometimes the complaints come that the parents, the president does not deal them properly. So the parents, however effort they may, their training and their advice will not be of any use. And all the tarbiyat that they have done, these office holders just wipe away everything. So for tarbiyat and to get them connected to the religion, it is very essential that the whole atmosphere should be cooperating in that one, and they should be helpful. And if such a situation develops, when a child, because of some senior member or elder or office holder, he is going away from Jamaat or going away from religion, then the parents should advise those people that this is the weakness of that particular office holder. So because of that, you don't go away from religion or religion of the community. And also tell them, the parents can say directly, or they can also ask the higher official about this, that there is a need to reform, these people should be reformed. Anyway, the parents, if the parents have got a personal relationship with their children, then they would tell everything what is happening to them. They would tell the parents, and they would understand when the parents are going to give them advice. And I'm advising this point, saying this point again and again, that in atmosphere, the personal relationship of the parents is very essential. And they should be telling everything to their parents, and the parents should talk to the children. And no doubt it's not only the programs of the community, rather when the children spend some time with other children, there also they learn and listen to so many other things. If they with contact with the relationship with the parents is such that they are not sharing it with parents, then they would not know what bad thing they are learning, and there would be a sort of a barrier and a distance between them, and it will be very difficult to go away with that later on. And the parents are of this opinion that our child, boy and the son, they are very nice, and they are not having any bad effect of the atmosphere around them. But sometimes there are situations that the parents, they in this good feelings, they admit later on that we did not realize in the beginning that at what stage our child went away from religion. In the childhood, the child is very linked with them, and a pious nature is there, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ has also mentioned, but the point is that there is no doubt in it, and this is what the Holy Prophet has mentioned, that it is the atmosphere which makes a person good or bad. It makes him a religious person or the worldly person. So the parents, therefore, they have to keep an eye on their children, that the child, where he is going to play, and what sort of children he is playing with. And this is also essential, that the parents should not simply think that the children, we have to keep an eye on the impact on their children of the outside atmosphere, but also I've said that the treatment of their relationship between them, that is also affecting. affecting the children, and the children are also looking at their good morals. And similarly, unknowingly and without any intention, the bad inclinations and bad intentions, they are affected, the children are affected by that. So therefore, the parents, they should also take care of their own reformation and to abstain from bad things, and in order to protect the future generation from those things, they should do the effort and also pray for that. And for the training of the boys and also for the training of the girls, it is very essential that you always treat them justly, equally. And some people give more importance to the boys, and whether the boys become very adamant and in a different way, and become very arrogant and proud, so which is something very bad. At the same time, the girls, they get the inferiority complex, and in order to remove that, sometime among their friends, they start sitting with some others, those who are very fond of the free society, and in the importance of the status of girls, they then take them away from religion. So if you give a preferential treatment to one child and all of them are not treated equally, so then it is not only that one person is getting a bad impact, rather all the other family members, other children, they will be going away from religion. And the mothers, they should pay special attention to this point. And similarly, one aspect of tarbiyat is that any weakness in the children or a mistake if they see, then in front of other people or maybe relatives, don't admonish them loudly and in anger, rather very lovingly, and advise them later on separately, establish their respect, self-respect. But some people, they just do not take care of that. And to make them realize their mistake, that is no doubt true. And another important thing which I want to say with reference to this is regarding the Waqf-e-Nau children. The majority of the parents feel that don't say to these children who are Waqf-e-Nau and let them do whatever they do, and when they grow up they would rectify it. This is a mistake. When you have dedicated your children for the sake of religion, so then you have done it with this prayer that, O Allah, the child which is going to be born in our family, we dedicate this child for the service of religion. This prayer and this declaration requires that you have to pay special attention towards the training of these children. And in order to make this campaign successful, the need of prayer is there. So the Waqf-e-Nau children, particularly from childhood, they should be given the religious training, and moral training should also be given. And the love of Allah Almighty should be created in their hearts, so that when they're grown up, then outstandingly they should be serving the religion. And the worldly attractions should not be attracting them to themselves. And the standard of their morals should be higher than other children. And not this that they are rude to their friends. If they go to any house, so then they are creating problem there, and very bad atmosphere. And Hadhrat Khalifa Rabe once said that don't say to any to their children and create self-confidence. That was never meant to be that you made them rude and make them arrogant. This was not meant at all. From 3 to 4 years of age, very kindly the tarbiyat should be given, and unnecessarily scolding, which sometimes the parents and the mothers they give, that is the point which he abstained. He advised Khalifa Rabe. But it is very important for each and every child, whether he or she is a Waqf-e-Nau or not. But the training of the children should be done like that. Hadhrat Khalifatul Massih Rabe, he has mentioned this point in great detail, that the parents, those who don't take care of the proper tarbiyat in childhood, and when these children go there and create havoc there, and they are just upsetting the whole house. And he has mentioned that the training should be done from the very childhood, particularly the Waqf children. If you teach them these morals at home, and unnecessary disturbance which they create and spoiling the things and damaging it, so then they would never do that thing when they go to somebody's else house of somebody else. So this is the ignorance of those people who have those who say that don't say anything to the children. If if the children are not going to be given the training, and from the childhood he is not going to make a distinction between good and bad, and you have to be very harsh upon other children, so then within the family, the siblings, the jealousy and wrong thinking will be there between them. And secondly, if the children, whether they show the reaction or not, and this criticism by the parents, they get a lesson from that. So even in that case, the other children which are not stopped from wrong things, then they would be better than others. And Jamaat needs such people, such children, and not that they just have the label of Waqf and then those children become very arrogant. These will be useless for the Jamaat. So the mothers, they should raise their Waqf children that from the religious point of view and the worldly knowledge, and from morals and etiquettes, and also with the passion of serving the mankind, and spiritually speaking, they should attain the high standard. At this more than 60,000 Waqf children are there in the world. Many of them are above 20, and many of them, those who are going in medicine, and after that they are working for the Jamaat after their study. But officially, the Jamaat, they have not presented their services to the Jamaat. In Ahmadiyya hospitals, we need the doctors, but still these Waqf children, we have not been able to fulfill the requirement there. Similarly, other professions are there. So what is the benefit of such Waqf children? Some people say they come and then they leave later on, that the allowance is not enough, Jamaat gives less payment. Waqf is the name of sacrifice, and the parents, the mothers, they have to train their children that you, after your education, you have to present yourself for the service of the community, and for that whatever sacrifice is required from you, you have to be ready to give that. Only then we can say that the parents have done their responsibility. Otherwise, it will apparent superfluous distinction is there, and which is no benefit to the community. So these are the things which parents have to take care, and in this respect, they have to do special effort. And in order to fulfill the Jamaat needs, that spirit should be created in the children. They should be made to understand the importance of the Waqf and dedication. Otherwise, these children, they are not very special in any aspect. They should not be done the tarbiyat in that you are a special one. The qualities of the special children, 2 years ago in a Jalsa in Canada, I mentioned, keep that in mind and make that your guidance, and take the guidance from there. And also for the training of the children, it is very essential that in the domestic atmosphere, criticism of the management of the Jamaat should not be done. This is not a simple thing. This is not a simple thing. If these things then get settled in their mind, and then they think that the whole management, the whole Jamaat is like that, and they go few steps further, then they start criticizing the Khalifa of the time. And when these criticism is there, so then they are out of the entity and the unity of the Jamaat, and they are severed with the Jamaat. So therefore, having the fear of Allah Almighty and the relationship with the community, giving it the priority and showing your loyalty and love for that, and the love and affection that you have in your hearts, showing that feelings, you should abandon such talks in your family. And don't say these things with thinking that if these things are not being done, but this thinking should not be there, that nobody should take, the report us against us, or some action can be taken. But talk in the community regarding the respect of Khilafat, and instead of fearing the people, have the fear of Allah, and that system of Wahdat, the unity that we have attained, we don't have to let it go waste. If there is a complaint with any with the person, then bring the matter to Khalifa of the time and then leave it. And this is the right thing of doing it, which will keep the people connected with Khilafat and Jamaat. Regarding the tarbiyat of the girls, particularly this thing is to be the maximum attachment there, that they should have the feeling of modesty in them. In the Western atmosphere, in the name of freedom, this shameless attitude, and which are which is being created in the Western atmosphere. So, they are taking the veils from their heads, and the ladies should also, the girls should also be mindful, and this feeling should be there, sentiment should be there, and for that purpose, the good examples of the mothers, first of all, is very essential. And the children always follow their parents, as I have said, and particularly the girls, they follow their mothers. Recently, a lady came to see me, and there was a girl, 2.5 years old, and she was putting the covering on the face of the mother, and so the child was putting the veil on the face of the mother, that you do that sort of observing the veil, which is the right type of veil. And now in the mind of that 2-year-old daughter, this is a veil that my mother should have, and this is a part of her dress. So whenever she has to go out of her home, whether she is going to visit a family member, so then this type of veil should be there. So unless and until the children do not show this type of example, then the importance of the children will be well established in the minds, and also the respect of the modesty of the ladies, and also this Quranic instruction, the importance of that you cover your heads with your scarf, and you cover up your points of beauty from other people. But many ladies and the girls, when they come into the Jamaat function or come to the mosque, at that time, according to that young girl, which she said, that sort of dress is there, the parda is there. And when they are in the market, and then not to think of that proper parda, no parda is maintained at all, which is extremely horrible thing and very dangerous. And that modesty and that sanctity which Islam wants to establish in case of ladies, and that modesty through the pretext of fashion or atmosphere, it is completely taken away, and people start feeling shy. And when this shyness comes there because of that, of the atmosphere, then it leads to shamelessness. So then people should be feeling shy of shamelessness, not by observing the rules given by Allah. Remember, going away from one commandment of Allah Almighty takes the people away from so many commandments. So if you have to train the future generations, so then all the commandments given by Allah Almighty, sincerely you have to follow that. And for the training of your future generations, you have to if you want your prayers to be accepted, then you have to follow the commandments of Allah Almighty. This is the command of Allah Almighty, that in order to get your prayers accepted, Allah Almighty says, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي, that you accept my commandments and you have belief in me. So this you have to act upon this commandment. So Iman is perfected only at that case when you follow the commandments of Allah Almighty, and when Iman, the faith, comes to that standard which Allah Almighty wishes, then the prayers are accepted. So in order to look after the future generations, you have to take care of your own behavior, and in order to get the acceptance of the prayer, you have to follow the commands of Allah. Allah Almighty enable all of us to do so, and our future generations, they must always be establishing relationship with Allah Almighty. Now please join in prayer.